Hello everyone, we are Group 8 and today we will present about Chapter 8 of E-commerce, ethical, social and political issue in e-commerce. Our group have 5 members, Luong Thi Thu Giang, Bui Khanh Linh, Vu Mai Linh, Bui Bao Ngoc and Lai Huyen Phuong, and our presentation will be divided into 5 parts. So now let's start with my first part, understanding ethical, social and political issue in e-commerce. So there are 8 unique features e-commerce technology. The first is ubiquity. The second is global reach. The third is universal standard. As you can see here on the slide is the thorough description. Also the fourth feature is richness. Also there are interactivity, information density, personalization, customization, and the last one is social technology. For more information, more detailed information, you can see here on the slide. And here is the model for organizing the issue. Issue raised by internet and e-commerce can be viewed at individual, social, and political level. There are 4 major categories of this issue: information rights, property rights, governance, and public safety and welfare. So here, as you can see, is the moral dimension of an internet society. There are 4 dimensions, and here you can see on the slide. So the basic ethical concept is responsibility, accountability, liability, and due process. So let's move on to analyzing ethical dilemma. So here, as you can see on the slide, is the process for analyzing ethical dilemmas. Is identifying and clearly describe the fact, define the conflict or dilemma, and identify the higher order values involved. Identify the stakeholder. Identify the option that you can responsibly take and identify the potential consequence of your option. And here are some candidate ethical principles: the golden rule, universalism, slippery slope, collective utilitarian principle, risk aversion, no free lunch, the New York Times test, and the social contact rules. So now let's move on to the next part.
Okay, now it's my turn to talk about the second part of the chapter 8, ethical, social and political issue in e-commerce. That is privacy and information rights. About this part, there are several general definitions we have to remember. Privacy, the first is privacy, that is the moral right of individuals to be left alone, free from surveillance or interference from other individuals or organizations, including the state. The second definition, information privacy, includes the claim that certain information should not be collected at or by governments or business firms, and the claim of individuals to control the use of whatever information is collected about them. Finally, the right to be forgotten, the claim of individuals to be able to edit and delete personal information online. And about the information that are collected at e-commerce sites, we also have 2 other definitions. Personally identifiable information is any data that can be used to identify, locate, or contact an individual. And anonymous information is demographic and behavioral information that does not include any personal identifiers. The the second part of the privacy is that the privacy in social networks. It is an important issue about privacy. Social networks pose a unique challenge for the maintenance of personal privacy. Many adult participants have a very keen sense of their personal privacy. Next, movie and location-based privacy issues. In America, Congress opened an investigation into the privacy policies of smartphone manufacturers, along with Facebook, Yahoo, Google, and 30 others in the app marketplace. Now it completes my presentation. Let's move on to another part of our presentation.
So now let's move on to my part. It's about intellectual property rights. In the first part of my presentation, I would like to tell you about three types of intellectual property protection. And the first type is copyright, which is known as the problem of perfect copies and encryption. Copyright law protects original forms of expression such as writing, art, drawings, photographs from being copied by others for a minimum of 70 years. However, the drawback of this type is that the underlying ideas behind work are not protected, only the expression in work that was protected. And the second type of intellectual right is patents, which are business methods and process. A patent grants the owner an exclusive monopoly on the ideas behind an invention for 20 years. There are four main types of inventions for which patents are granted under patent law. They are machines, man-made products, compositions of matter, and processing methods. In 1998, State Street Bank and Third Signature Financial Group paved the way for business firms to begin applying for business methods patents. This is an explosion in applications for e-commerce business methods patents. And the last type of intellectual right is trademark, which is online infringement and dilution. Trademark is a mark used to identify and distinguish goods and indicate their source. As now you can see on the screen, there are six activities which are internet and trademark law examples: cyber squatting, cyber piracy, meta tagging, keywords, linking, and framing. For example, by framing, which is described as placing the content of other sites in the frame on the infringer's side. And an example case of this is the Washington Post. That's all about three types of intellectual right. So, from these three types of intellectual rights, they set a challenge for any organization or individuals. That is the balance, the protection of property with other values. And as you can see, there are three main competing interests. First, intellectual property or commercial value. The second is protection of human subjects. And last but not least, funding agency requirements to share data. And that is very important point for any business to know this challenge and to find the best way to balance them. And that is the end of my presentation today. So now let's move on to the next part of our group presentation.
Hello, my name is Linh, and now I will talk about the part for governance. So governance has to do with social control, who will control the internet, who will control the processes of e-commerce, the content and activities, what elements will be controlled, and how will the control be implemented. A natural question arises and needs to be answered. Why do we as a society need to control e-commerce? Because e-commerce and the internet are so closely intertwined. Though not identical, controlling e-commerce also involves regulating the internet. So to answer the first question, who governs the internet and e-commerce? The first method is mixed mode environment, which is self-regulation through a variety of internet policy and technical body coexist with limited government regulations. And the second method is ICN, which is domain name system. The internet is technically very easily controlled and monitored and conducted from central locations such as network, access points, telecommunications, firms or agency fiber channels, as well as servers and routers throughout the network. Internet and e-commerce also can be controlled by taxation. It's the non-local nature of internet e-commerce complicate governance and jurisdiction issues. There are sales taxes, motor retail tax subsidy, e-commerce tax subsidy, and Internet Tax Freedom Act. These two also can be controlled by net neutrality, which is the concept that Internet backbone owners should treat all Internet traffic equally, in the same sense that each charge the same flat rate regardless of how much bandwidth it uses. Differentiate pricing strategies is also used. Cap pricing is putting caps on bandwidth usage, charging more for additional usage in higher prices. Congression pricing is charging more for peak hour internet service, and highway tone pricing is charging service provider like Netflix for their use of the internet based on their bandwidth use. So that's it, the end of my presentations. Now move on to the next part.
So now I want to move to my part that is about the public safety and welfare. And about this part, I will discuss about the crypto issue in U.S. e-commerce centers. And in about these issues, there are two main crypto issues. That is the protection of children and strong sentiments against the pornography in public media. And the second one is the efforts to control gambling and the protection of public health through the restricting sale of drugs and cigarettes. About the first one, protecting children against the pornography, they issue three main acts. The first one is Communication Decency Act, that is preventing children from having access to indecencies. You can see the detail about this act on the slide. And the second one is the Children Online Protection Act, that it prohibits websites from collecting information on children under the age of 13. And that this on the slide is the detail of this act. And the last act is the Children Internet Protection Act. This is a requirement on school or libraries make certain communication service and products more affordable for eligible school and libraries. So that it was to protect children from against the pornography, but to issue this act, they have some difficult, such as the Communication Decency Act struck down in the late 1990s, and the Children Online Protection Act struck down but still be considered by the law court. And about the Children Internet Protection Act upheld by Super Court, it requires school and library to install technology protection measures. And about the second main issue, that is the effort to control gambling and restrict sale of drugs and cigarettes. About this issue, they are mostly regulated by the state law, and any unlawful internet gambling enforcement act were issued to afford to control gambling and to restrict sale of drugs and cigarettes. So that's in my part about the safety and the welfare in the US, UK e-commerce, US. And so that also I finished our group presentation. Thank you for your listening.